It seems like almost every year we get some type of Zelda title in some sort of form, whether it's a small little spin-off or port or remake, or maybe even a big game-changing event such as Breath of the Wild, where it completely reinvents the series. But we have to sit and wonder, is there going to be a Zelda game for 2020? Now, not every year, there are some exceptions where it's just barely over a year, but you know, I'm going to say every year we pretty much get one. So what is 2020 going to have in store? Could this be one of the exception years, or is there still something planned for the end of the year? And today we're going to talk about all the possibilities that can still happen for Nintendo if they decide to finally announce something for once. Before we get started, make sure you guys stop what you're doing right now and subscribe if you guys are tuning in and you're unsubbed, because currently only 8% of you guys that are subbed tune into the video. So please feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on everything I post, and make sure you like the video if you enjoy. So the year of 2020 has not been kind to us. Lots of things have been breaking out across the world, and nothing has ever been settled really for any month this year so far. So it's hard to put concrete release dates for anything coming out. For all we know, Breath of the Wild 2 could have been released as the big holiday game for this year, which we'll talk about more towards the end of the video, but could have 2020 impacted that? That's what we need to find out. Is something changed now? Have things got pushed back to the following year? Well, today we are going to cover all the possibilities for the Legend of Zelda franchise and see if there's any ports, remakes, or brand new games coming in 2020. So first off, I want to talk about ports, because obviously Nintendo loves these things. It's an easy way to get revenue and an easy way to get people excited for the next Zelda game by just porting over an old one that people love, because pretty much everybody loves every type of Zelda game, except for like Zelda 2. But besides that, there are two ports that I've thought about because they come originally from the Wii U. We have The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD and The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Both of these games were GameCube games and then moved up to the Wii and then moved up to the Wii U, well, at least Twilight Princess was, and this is something that seems like they could do again. They still have not stopped doing this, and it looks like they're going to keep pushing on this agenda of porting from one console to another. Well, what's the benefit this time around? Well, it's simple. The benefit is that we can now take it on the go. It's now a portable Wind Waker or portable Twilight Princess, as well as a native 1080 60 frames per second game that we can play on our television. So either way, I think Nintendo would still consider this, but will this happen in 2020? Now the question is, will Nintendo actually port these in 2020? I don't know. They're not like original games that came out on the Wii U. These games are very old games that kept getting ports and remakes and remasters over and over and over again. So will Nintendo port these again? I actually doubt it. Unless there's some type of compilation pack, apparently like we're getting with the 3D Mario games, I don't think Zelda's really going to get anything like that. And when I say compilation pack, the only time I see Wind Waker and Twilight Princess coming to the Switch is if it comes in a triple pack with Skyward Sword. That would make a lot of sense, and that's something that I made in a video before, but that's really the only way they're going to do that, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to make a Zelda compilation pack right beside a Mario one this year. Now we move on more to remakes and remasters of past games, like they did with Link's Awakening, and I think this is very interesting because they might just use the same art style, the same engine entirely to remake one of these past games, such as Link to the Past, which is a complete fan favorite, or maybe even Link Between Worlds, which is kind of the reimagining of that game for the 3DS. I would prefer Link to the Past because it's kind of like the OG game, but you know, we'll have to see what Nintendo does. But they could even remake the Oracle games in this same exact engine as Link's Awakening remake, because Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages didn't really age well with that, and I think that's a great way to revive it. They could even pull a Pokemon type of route where they kind of release two games side by side, Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, and maybe they're both like $40 games that you can purchase and you can play, and that'd be a really cool way to get these cool Zelda games back out in the modern era, because I think a lot of people and most people probably pass these games up, me myself included. It might be the only Zelda games that I have never played all the way through, and it's just simply hard to grasp as such an old aged game, and it's just, like I said, it doesn't age that well as in today's standards. And yes, I put this one in its own category. Zelda Skyward Sword needs a remaster. This has to happen. If the next remaster isn't Skyward Sword, I'm going to be kind of upset. This game is perfectly made for the Switch, and they wouldn't even have to add a lot. They would just simply have to put the game in high def and just update a couple of the textures. It still is a really good looking game, and it still runs pretty good, and with the Switch, really nothing's going to have to change. Now, I don't know how you would pretty much play the game in handheld mode at all. But maybe it's just a complete home console experience for a Zelda game, unfortunately, and we've seen a couple of games that were like that. But yes, it would just be a TV required game, and you have the Joy-Con that should be able to work with the motion controls of the sword, as it's not really a pure AR pointer, it's just a simple motion tracking. So there really shouldn't be a problem with this game coming to the Switch, and like I said, just putting the game in HD is enough to make me excited. And Skyward Sword is once again one of those fan favorite games, and personally, yes, I know, you guys probably know, it is my favorite Zelda game, and I would lose my mind to not only get a Mario Sunshine remake this year, but also a Zelda Skyward Sword. Now this does sound like the likely candidate out of all of these options, because Skyward Sword is the only one, like I said, that did not get a remake or remaster yet, because we have Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, they both got theirs, and Skyward Sword is really next in line. It came out on the Wii, so I think it's about time 2 consoles later to finally release on the Switch. I cannot wait when this happens, and I think, like I said, this is what we should be expecting for a non-Breath of the Wild game coming soon. So the problem with this year is it's already filled up with ports, apparently. Because supposedly we're supposed to get 3D Mario remasters, which include 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, probably Galaxy 2. We have Mario 3D World, Pikmin 3, and Xenoblade Chronicles already came out. Now, I know the rest of those are kind of like speculation, rumor, and leak, but if those do happen, those are a lot of ports and remakes coming out. Are they going to throw more on top of the fire with Zelda? Probably. You know, Nintendo never shies away from ports, we know this, but I don't know. It's a lot of remakes and remasters, and I think we might have hit our limit, especially with that 3D Mario remaster. It makes me wonder, are we just going to get a new Zelda game as our next installment? And what new Zelda game would we get? Well, I think we all know. But before we get to that, yes, I think that it's between Skyward Sword or this new Breath of the Wild 2. I don't know what we're going to get, and I don't know, like I said, it's completely up to Nintendo with these ports and remakes, and if they want to flood this year. But then again, insiders did state that this year was going to be a great year for ports, and what would be great, but then to just keep throwing more ports and remakes and remasters onto the Nintendo Switch. But to be honest with you, I think it's between no Zelda game this year or Breath of the Wild 2. It's one or the other. Because I think with such big console releases and big things happening this holiday season, it's almost important for Breath of the Wild to come out this year. I mean, it's almost Nintendo needs it. Unless they need more time to work with this game and develop it, obviously take more time, put it out sometime in 2021 or beyond even. But I don't know. I have this strange feeling that still, even through all the chaos of 2020, Breath of the Wild 2 is somehow going to make the cut. And we still don't have our holiday game for this year announced yet, or even leaked or rumored, so it's kind of hard to choose. I've obviously said it's between Zelda, Mario Kart 9, and a huge Kirby game because HAL Labs stated that they were working on a game that will be the peak of the series and it's coming into fruition, potentially indicating maybe a massive 3D adventure for the little puffball. To me, Zelda and Mario Kart are the only things that can compete with console releases, and yes, the Mario 3D remasters will be huge, but I don't see a port or remaster of some old Mario games going to be enough to combat 2 brand new consoles from game companies along with Halo Infinite. I mean, it's just some pretty big things coming this year for 2020, and Nintendo has their shoes filled. I know Nintendo doesn't normally go competitive with other companies and they do their own thing, but let's be honest. If kids are going to buy a brand new console this year, whether it be a Switch, an Xbox, or a PlayStation 5, which one are they going to get? Are they going to buy the Switch with some remix or old game, or the Xbox with a brand new Halo? You know what I mean? Well, to me, only Breath of the Wild 2 is enough to really combat, I think, brand new consoles. I think people would honestly buy Breath of the Wild 2 over a brand new $500 console because Breath of the Wild 2 will be $60, and it's a massive adventure, and if it's anything like the first game, it's going to be a 10 out of 10, absolutely amazing across the board. So that's what Nintendo, I think, should look at. And I think Nintendo may have been planning this for a very long time because they knew that other companies are going to have game consoles. I'm sure they had a heads up. But of course, like always, I leave it to you guys. What do you think Nintendo's going to do with Zelda next? Is Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 the very next Zelda game, or is there another port or remaster coming to take its place for the time being? Also, what in the world is this year's holiday game? As we still have no clue what it's going to be. What do you guys think is going to be this year? Mario Kart? Is it some type of big Kirby? Something else that I didn't mention? Please let me know down in the comments below what you guys are thinking. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and like always, I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.